I hope everybody's having a great Monday. I hope we can add a little bit to your Monday. And as we've talked about before, like winning that Monday, right? We keep on talking. We have different subjects every week. We keep on talking about building wealth, building freedom, time, all of these things, right? And the title of today's message is Manifesting Wealth and Steps Beyond Just Visualization. Okay, so like we've talked about how you have to have a vision board, visualize it. We've all heard just visualize wealth and it'll come to you. Somebody said to me, hey, they were actually talking about my next partner, spouse, girlfriend, whatever. They were like, just manifest that. Like, okay, yeah. Like, I believe that. So I, wrote down all the things. I mean, here's the truth. Vision alone isn't enough. If it were, every dreamer would be a billionaire, right? I mean, if I just dream up this perfect person, they would just walk through my door. But the wealth thing, and by the way, I don't know how to do the other part that the person told me to visualize, okay, and manifest. I did, I wouldn't be single. But today on the wealth side, I can give you exact steps beyond visualization to manifest real lasting wealth financially, mentally, spiritually. And we're going to cover 10 steps because we're trying to do these steps, right? From wishing to winning. This is going to take you from wishing to winning. And so let's just dive in. Okay. Since that introduction, especially when we went down the girlfriend path, kind of went a little different. All right. So the first thing, you probably already see this coming. You got to develop a wealth mindset. Number one reason why people stay broke, scarcity thinking. I can't do this. Instead of how can I do this? It's simple, but not easy. So you have to identify, we've talked about this before, identify and replace limiting beliefs with abundance-driven beliefs. Okay, so wealth isn't just in your bank account, it's in your habits, your thinking, your network. Last one is something that a lot of people don't think about. It's your habits. Like it was probably 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Yeah, because it coincided. No, it was before that, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I was 56, and I went to the doctor, and it was like, I need to take this high blood pressure medicine or something. And it was like right then, I thought, no, I gotta start treating my health better, right? And I did the whole vision of what my health was going to look like, and all of these big goals. But then I realized that it wasn't like just snap your finger, wasn't 90 days to personal power, a Tony, Horton thing, the 90-day thing, all of those things, those transformation, 90 days transformation, your body doesn't recover. So you get fatigued and worn down and it just doesn't happen. And then we quit. So what I said is, this is a journey that but the mindset right then and there, I made the decision I was going to be healthier, right? Fast forward 3 years, I am healthier. It didn't happen overnight. It's not where I want it to be, the final thing. It's never going to be to the horizon. I'm not going to live in the gap though, right? And compare myself to perfection. I'm going to live in the gain, like how far I've come. And I realized it was just step by step, just every day, having the right attitude. When the alarm goes off at 4:30, not arguing. Champions Creed, somebody taught me a long time ago, and I taught my kids this, I will do what I need to do when I need to do it, whether I want to do it or not. No debate. Why no debate? Because we can sell ourselves on, hey, you know what? I worked out yesterday. Don't really need to work out again today. It's a little chilly, whatever it is, right? Sleep great, all the things. You just get out of bed, brush your teeth, drink a bunch of water, and go to the gym. So when you shift that mindset, that one decision has led me to lower blood pressure, lower body fat, smaller clothes, all kinds of benefits, right? More confidence, feeling better. I feel as good at 59 as I did at 39. So it didn't happen overnight, but that one mindset shift, how everything fell into place, right? And if I wouldn't have done that, then I wouldn't get what I wanted and what I still want. And I just gave blood this morning to get my panel back, to see where my hormones are, to see what else I can adjust. Okay, so first step, just to review, is you have to just change that mindset. Number one reason people go broke or stay broke, scarcity thinking. The next thing you have to do is build high income skill skills and leverage your strengths. So money follows value creation. We've talked about what skills are you mastering to make you indispensable, right? Could be working with partners, could be running the business, could be like teaching people how to run your business for you. But if money follows value creation, then what skills are you developing to create value? And so the first step is focus on the skills like sales, leadership, investing, marketing, business strategy, whatever it is, right? And then like how learning a single high income skill that you've learned in the past has taken you from struggling to thriving. So like for me, when I think about that, is when I was a financial planner, I learned how to get assets under management. It was pretty simple. You just said these simple words and kind of simple ideas, and you sold people on these dreams and like a vision without a plan is a dream. And you give them a plan. It was a plan based on hope. I hope this happens. You hope it happens. It was all kind of BS, right? I mean, that's what financial planning is. But once I learned from Nelson Nash about infinite banking and the engine that drives on the money side, the wealth, well, that changed everything, because I wasn't doing some false projections for people, how much money you're going to have in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And it wasn't this lump sum. It was incremental cash flow. Like, how can you use your banking system to buy cash flowing assets and stack those cash flowing assets to where you have more money than you need coming in? That was like that. And I learned everything I could learn. I read every book. And I was of value to people trying to learn how to do it, because I spent hours and hours and hours. Plus, I had the experience being a financial planner. Plus, I had the experience of growing up with no money and wondering what people knew about money. Plus, I was driven from just that scarcity and avoiding that pain to become an expert in this area and helping people and serving people, right? And then I had to do it myself so that I could say, well, here's what I've done with my system. So if I can do it, you can do it, right? Okay. So the third step is implement IBC, right? Bank uses your money to make more money. Simple. Why not take that back? Take back that control of money. Why wouldn't you want to do that? So you set up a system where your money flows through you first, then it's leverage for opportunities. Well, now we're talking about you have that wealth engine. Now we have an engine. We just got to dress it up a little bit, right? We have this machine, our infinite banking system. Now what are we going to go invest in? Well, that's the right side of the ledger, right? Which we call our like community forum that we do on Thursdays or whenever that is scheduled. I think it's once a month now, is the right side of the ledger. What expertise do you have? Remember that value creation, or what expertise can you go out and find from someone else or learn or whatever it is? Okay, you get to decide. And you set up that system where all that money flows through you, then out there, then back to you, then redeployed. And there's no one there that can slow down the flow of that money, right? And that creates long-term wealth acceleration, because it doesn't matter if you do it in 3 years or 30 years, you're making progress, right? And it might take you 30 years if your goals are really huge. So as you acquire those, step 4, you acquire, multiply cash flowing assets. The wealthy, they don't work for money. They make their money work for them. Everybody's heard that. They don't exchange time for money. That's not what they do. They buy cash flowing assets like businesses and real estate and intellectual property, SaaS, software, whatever it is. And the easiest story for me is John Stevens, because I just remember the emotion that John came into my office and he was emotional. I could tell that there were maybe some tension between him and his wife. His wife was a dentist. He was a business owner, and she didn't want to be a dentist anymore. And he couldn't do the things that she wanted him to do, and the family needed him to do, because he's running this business, or the business was running him. He was self-employed, right? He resisted. He resisted IBC. He resisted real estate. He resisted it all. But once he actually started taking action and doing it, it didn't take him long. Now, guy's happier than anything. And I know I've shared this story before, but he sends me stuff all the time saying, hey, I don't want to give you too much credit, but you changed my life. I didn't change his life. I gave him the same information that we're talking about right here. We just have to change our mindset. change our action plan. And as soon as you do, it'll happen. Just a matter of time. It's how much action you're willing to take, how much capacity, how well you learn how to use your system, right? But one of the things that we have to do in this shift is master time ownership, not just money ownership. Because if you're doing it all and it's taking you 15 hours a day, you're not going to be happy. Your family's not going to be happy with you. If you don't control your time, you don't control your life, right? And if you don't have, whoever has control of the money makes the money. Whoever has control of your life is the master of your life. And if you're not the master of your life, then you're what? Okay. So we're all financial slaves to some degree, but we can take control and make us not slaves in our lives financially, right? And it's that mindset, right? So you have to automate, delegate, guard your time like you guard your wealth. Like, are you guarding your time, or is it like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, I got an hour to do that? And the difference, like, is that it's kind of like the book Buy Back Your Time, right? Like, what can you leverage? How can you use other people's time and not be somebody that's always busy? Well, it starts like mowing the lawn. Somebody will mow the lawn for $20 and you're worth $1,000. Well, that an hour, then that's pretty simple, right? And if you're worth $50 an hour and they're worth $20 an hour, pay them. Go do something that's $50 an hour valuable or more. Okay, so number 6, expand, influence, and build your brand authority. Okay, what I mean by that, like, it doesn't have to be like brand, but wealth isn't just about money, it's opportunities, and opportunities flow to those with influence, because everybody wants you to be part of it when you have influence. So, example, and this is a networking example. Met this lady at my doctor's office that works there, and she said, "Oh, you do real estate stuff, and I listened to your podcast." And she said, "There's a lady that comes in here, and she called like the mobile home lady or something like that, and she shows people how, and she finds mobile homes, works that are for sale, and she finds people that want to buy them, and she shows them how to do that." And I said, "Oh, I'd love to have her on my podcast." So right there, it's an opportunity because of the podcast, because of whatever, that I had to talk to this lady, and hopefully, and she said there's 3 for sale in Fort Myers right now. And I'm like, well, I'm interested, right? Okay, so the other one was the same person at this office said there's a guy that comes in and he has 1,000 doors in this area. And I said, "You think you'd be willing to sell them?" Simple as that, right? She goes, "I don't know. Let me figure out a way that I could introduce you." Okay, great. So if you create content, or you teach, or you speak, or you build intellectual property, where you just go to a real estate meetup or a business owners meetup or a roundtable or something, you share ideas, things that you've done, all of a sudden you're sharing your influence. Okay, step 7. So this is kind of where like my heart really is you got to give and invest in others, right? That's step 7. So true wealth is measured by impact, not by just income. It doesn't matter whether it's passive income, cash flow, it's impact. So if you mentor, give, create value before expecting returns from somebody else, like you're going to mentor somebody, show them, for you business owners, hey, show a young person how to own their own business and how to find that business to buy. And it's the law of reciprocity in action, how generosity multiplies wealth. It just happens. Go Giver is a perfect example of that. That book is such a great book. You listen to this, you read the story in the book, and I don't want to give it away for people that haven't read it, but if you haven't read it, go get it today. Excuse me. The law of reciprocity is something that I believe in 100%. When somebody gives to me, I definitely want to give back to them. I have a harder time receiving than I do giving. Most men do. It's just one of our things, right? So, okay. The next step, now once you're starting to do all of this stuff, and I see this happen all the time, I see a lot of people with a lot of money, and they are not physically or spiritually aligned at all, okay? You can have all the money in the world, but if you lose yourself, it's worthless. If you really don't feel good about who you are and what you're doing and your actions, it's worthless. It doesn't matter. It's not going to make you happy. So you got to take care of your health, your faith, and your personal development. think of like the billionaire guy, I can't think of his name, and somebody could put it in the chat. He spends $240,000 or $250,000 a year on his body, blood work, vitamins, medical food, whatever. I don't know what it all is, but $250,000. Doesn't say anything about like how he takes care of himself emotionally, spiritually, all of that. Those things all need to be in alignment. And like, again, these are all different things. You could have a vision in each one of these things. All right. So the ninth step is, once you're doing all of that, you think to yourself, your wealth should outlive you and it should empower others, not entitle them. Sorry, kids, but empower them, right? I want to motivate my kids, grandkids, great grandkids someday to build this legacy. Okay. Like, expand it. So one of the ways is to set up trusts that can not live in perpetuity, but for hundreds of years, or at least 100 years. Build businesses that can be passed down, educational systems, generational wealth. Like, how do you teach? I teach my great grandkids how to do this. Well, I have to have a system. I have to have video. I have to have content, books that they can go back and read, right? So, the one person that I think about, and it's the simplest one, is J.D. Rockefeller. And I know that you guys could probably get tired of me saying the same thing over and over again, but when he was dirt poor, he visualized being the richest man in the world. And just through his visualization, it just happened. No, I'm just kidding. Like, he took massive action. In fact, sometimes that's what he knows. Oh, he's ruthless. He's this. He says, read about him. If he was going to come over and take over your company, he would say, hey, listen, I'm going to corner this market. If you want to partner with me in the steel business, I would like to buy your company. I'll buy 50%, or I'll buy whatever, or I'll buy it all. And I want you to stay aboard, and I want you to be a partner. I want you to have this or this or this. People back then, they would be really arrogant. Like, who is this guy? And they said no. And then he took over the market anyway. And then they were out, and they'd say, man, he's ruthless. Well, he wasn't real. I mean, maybe he was, but there's stories where he wasn't as ruthless as what I would say. But he took massive action. And then he kept on expanding that action. And he used leverage, because when money started flowing back in, he didn't go out and have this lavish lifestyle. He reinvested. There was no way. He had way too more money coming in than he could ever spend or ever, so that's that. And then he passed all of this on to his kids in the form of an education system, which is a book called Letters to My Son, 38 letters to my son John, or whatever the book's called, but it's really 40 letters, and it's an amazing book. I think it's so amazing that I'd remember the title, but it's just one of those longer titles. So what did he do? He took relentless action. That is step 10. That is the last step that you need. Again, what I said is a great vision. You can have a great vision with no action, and it's just a fantasy. It's just a dream, right? It's not going to happen. You got to commit to daily action. Any day where you're at the end of the day and say, man, I really didn't make progress in any of my vision, that's not a red letter day, right? In the Bible, the important words in the New Testament are in red when Jesus is speaking. I say it's a red letter day. It's a red letter to do in my bullet journal. In my gratitude, if it's something really big, I write it down in red. Okay, so what's the one step you're willing to take towards your wealth vision every single day? You get your vision, then you think, what's the one thing that you have to do? There might be 3 or 4 things that you're going to do. And again, I think about Elon Musk. What are the 5 accomplishments you had last week? This is kind of like, this seems like simple stuff. People don't like it, man. They are resisting that. Don't ask me what I did last week. Why? When I've come into businesses, I've said to people, I want to know what everybody does for 8 hours a day. Step. Tell me what everybody does. Everybody resists that. Why? It's not because I'm going to say, that's all you do in 8 hours. And so you're fired. That's not the point. My point is, the government, that might need to happen. But my business is, what else can we get you doing that's going to create value that I can pay for, the business owner? Every day, what are your 3 things that have to happen? What's your top thing? What's one step that you have to do to take action towards your wealth vision? All right. So now we've covered 10 action steps move beyond just visualization into execution. Any questions or thoughts or anything? So Matt says, I want to be wise and invest in cash flowing assets. My car was totaled 2 weeks ago and I was thankful to be okay, and also have a life insurance in case I wasn't okay. And that's a good point. I'm glad you're okay and didn't have to, process a claim, Matt. I want to buy a new car through though to replace it. Nice. Honestly, when I remember the Volkswagen GTI, so he wants to buy a GTI with manual transmission for fun. And those cars, like when I was a kid, Matt, like my dream car was the BMW 2000, like not the year 2002, but it was the model 2002. I look back at it now, it's not that, like now I think, I have an M5 that's stupid fast and whatever, but like, I just always wanted that car when I was younger. If I had a 5-car garage, there would be a 2002 sitting in there. I probably never would drive it, but it would be sitting in there just because it would be like a reminder of like dream, vision, and then take action and whatever it is that you want. I don't know what you want. I don't know why you want it. You just made it perfectly of the Volkswagen GTI. That's the car you want. Make it the best one that you've ever seen. Nathan says, I always wanted a Mustang Cobra. Tell you what, those Mustangs, and when it has the Cobra on the side, right, Nathan? I mean, you're like, ooh, that's got to be the fast one, right? The like Chargers. I don't know the different ones that are like the high end ones. And so Matt says, I wondered how to think about the balance of wisdom, but not having a scarcity mindset. So yeah, it's being smart. But remember, you're not buying liabilities. We're buying assets that are going to pay for those liabilities. Remember the story with Robert Kiyosaki is he wanted to buy a Ferrari or a Corvette or something. And Kim said, you can buy it. Sure, buy it. But first buy an asset that's going to pay for it so you're not having to pay for it. So like, okay, Nathan, we know what car Nathan would have, Matt would have. Your challenge is to go out and find an asset that's going to pay for that car. I think about somebody the other day just told me about a small little house thing they did, and their net cash flow was $600 a month. Like, okay, $600 a month. That's probably not a payment for a Mustang. It might be for the Volkswagen GTI, right? But is $1,200. So would you need 2 of those assets or to pay for that Mustang forever, right? You could have one every year or every 3 years or whatever. You could like trade it in and get a new one. Obviously, you're going to finance it through your infinite banking system, but you can have whatever you want. When we think time, I got to exchange my efforts and my time to get those assets. That's when we get hung up on the scarcity. Does that make sense? Yes, balance out smart decisions. But if you had an asset that paid you $1 million a year and you wanted to have a $10 million house, pretty sure you could have a $10 million house on $1 million a year, probably bigger than $10 million house, and you're not paying for it. The asset is. It's not like you have the stress of going out there and doing that. And the asset, if it's real estate or a business, you can have insurance. Could you lose a customer with business? Yeah, you got to be smart about that and diversify, etc. Okay. So yes, I agree with the balance. And, I want you all of your dreams to come true. So what's one action thing you can take? If it is that you haven't created your vision, then create that today. Mine's not done. I just started redoing it. And I got to dribble out. I got to race. It evolves. I might throw something else up here in 10 minutes, but it's there. It's put it down in writing. All right. Well, thank you all for hanging in there even longer than we normally go, but I hope this was valuable. Thank you all. I appreciate you all, and Godspeed. If there's anything I can do to help you in your journey, just reach out to me directly. Take care.